You ever notice how the same things keep happening to you? The same patterns, the same disappointments, the same kind of pain dressed in different clothes. You tell yourself it's bad luck, or timing, or maybe people just don't understand you. But deep down, you feel it. That creeping sense that something's off. Like life's trying to tell you something, over and over again. But you're too busy running to listen. It's not coincidence. It's a message. A cycle that won't stop until you finally see what it's trying to show you. Repetition is not coincidence. It's communication. Life doesn't waste energy on random events. Every situation, every heartbreak, every betrayal that keeps circling back isn't just happening to you for fun. It's happening because you didn't hear it the first time. You didn't learn what you were meant to. So it comes back, wearing a new face, speaking a little louder, hurting a little more. You call it bad luck, but it's not luck. It's a lesson dressed in disguise, showing up again and again until you finally pay attention. You see, life is a brutal teacher, patient but merciless. It doesn't care how many times you cry or swear you'll do better. It cares about awareness, about growth. And when you don't grow, when you keep reacting instead of learning, it repeats the scene like a broken record. The faces change, the places change, but the pain stays the same. Different story, same feeling. You fall for the same type of people. You make the same kind of mistakes. You end up in the same emotional ruins. And each time, you swear this one will be different. But it never is, because you never were. People think the universe is unfair. They scream, "Why does this always happen to me?" As if life has something personal against them. It doesn't. It's not out to get you. It's out to wake you. Every repetition is a conversation you keep refusing to have. Every time you ignore your intuition. Every time you tolerate what you know drains you. Every time you repeat the same decision, expecting a new outcome, life takes note. And it says, "All right, they didn't get it. Let's try again." And it does. Louder, heavier, sharper, until you can't ignore it anymore. Repetition is the universe's language. It doesn't speak in words. It speaks in patterns. It keeps placing you in situations that trigger the same wounds, because that's where the healing needs to happen. The lesson isn't outside you, it's inside. You're not unlucky, you're unconscious. You're replaying your programming without even realizing it. You're attracted to familiarity, even if that familiarity is pain. That's why people keep choosing the same toxic relationships, the same dead-end jobs, the same self-destructive habits. Because the mind doesn't love happiness. It loves what it knows, even if what it knows is misery. And that's the cruel beauty of it. Life won't stop until you do. Until you stop blaming the world and start decoding the message. Because the moment you see the pattern, you start taking your power back. The repetition loses its grip. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What's this showing me?" That shift is everything. But most people don't reach it. They get stuck in cycles, trapped in repetition, convinced they're cursed. They never realize they're the common denominator in every story. Same pain, different setting, always them at the center. You have to understand something. Life is reflective. It mirrors your inner state. You attract what you are, not what you want. If you keep attracting chaos, it's because you haven't resolved the chaos within. If you keep meeting people who lie, it's because you keep lying to yourself. If you keep ending up in situations where you're undervalued, it's because deep down, you still question your own worth. The outer world is a stage where your inner patterns perform. And until you rewrite the script, the play won't change. You think you're waiting on life to change, but life is waiting on you. Waiting for you to stop ignoring the signals. Waiting for you to stop calling lessons problems. Waiting for you to finally see that everything repeating isn't a coincidence. It's communication. And it's been trying to get your attention for a long time. You just didn't want to listen, because listening means accepting that you might be the reason it keeps happening. Most people don't want truth. They want comfort. They want a reason that makes them the victim, not the cause. But that mindset keeps the cycle alive. Because as long as it's someone else's fault, you don't have to change. You just keep waiting for the world to fix itself, while life keeps replaying the same film, hoping you'll realize you're the director. The scene doesn't end until you rewrite it. Every repetition is an invitation to wake up, to notice, to understand what your soul is trying to say. The pain you keep avoiding, that's the message. The disappointment you keep attracting, that's the mirror. Every loop, every repeated mistake is a clue, pointing you toward the truth you're too afraid to face. And if you ignore it long enough, life stops whispering. It starts screaming. The same problem grows teeth. The same situation becomes unbearable. That's not cruelty. That's urgency. Because the longer you delay awareness, the deeper you fall into blindness. The moment you stop seeing repetition as coincidence, everything changes. You start recognizing patterns, not people. Lessons, not losses. Every event starts connecting like puzzle pieces, revealing a picture that was always there. You stop reacting emotionally and start responding consciously. You stop asking for things to stop happening and start asking what they came to teach. That's when the cycle breaks. That's when life shifts. Because it was never trying to hurt you. It was trying to talk to you. And it'll keep talking until you finally say, I hear you. You ever notice how people crave comfort but complain about being stuck? They want change without chaos, transformation without discomfort, success without sacrifice. It's funny, isn't it? They pray for new beginnings while clinging to old habits like security blankets. They say they want growth, but the moment life starts shaking them up, they panic, they beg for calm, they run back to what's familiar. And that's why nothing changes. Because you can't evolve and stay the same. You can't break cycles while protecting the very patterns that built them. Growth doesn't come gift wrapped. It doesn't arrive with gentle music and a peaceful glow. It comes in storms, in heartbreak, in moments where everything falls apart. That's how life works. It doesn't hand you lessons on silver trays. It throws you into chaos and watches how you react. It tears down everything fake so you can finally face what's real. And that's what people mistake for punishment. But it's not punishment. It's preparation. See, when you ask for strength, life doesn't make things easier. It makes you stronger. When you ask for clarity, it removes people who confuse you. When you ask for peace, it exposes the noise you keep entertaining. And that's the twist. Most people don't want the answers. They just want the illusion of wanting them. Because the real answers are uncomfortable. They demand you let go of things that make you feel safe. They demand you face your reflection, not your excuses. You can't step into a higher version of yourself while still feeding the lower one. You can't walk into your future with the same mindset that built your pain. And yet, that's what everyone tries to do. Drag their past into their promise. They want transformation without release. But life doesn't work like that. You have to burn the old bridge to cross to the new world. And that burning, it hurts. It's not poetic, it's raw. It's the kind of pain that makes you question if it's even worth it. But that's the only way real change happens. When comfort dies, and you're forced to rebuild without it. The funny part, people keep saying, I'm waiting for a sign. But life has already given them hundreds. They just ignore the ones that don't look like what they expected. They want miracles, not messages. They want magic, not movement. But sometimes the sign isn't a light in the sky. It's the silence after the chaos. The emptiness after the end. The moment you realize nothing around you feels right anymore. That's the sign. That's life whispering. It's time. But you pretend not to hear it, because hearing it means you'd have to do something about it. You keep repeating what you refuse to release. You keep holding on to people who drain you, jobs that kill you, habits that numb you. And every time life tries to push you out, you call it bad luck. But it's not luck. It's liberation in disguise. It's life saying, I'm not going to let you stay small anymore. But you resist. You fight back. You try to rebuild what was never meant to last. Because deep down, comfort feels safer than uncertainty. Even if that comfort is destroying you. Growth will cost you. It'll cost your ego, your denial, your attachments. It'll strip away everything that isn't aligned with who you're becoming. That's why people stay stuck. Not because they can't change, but because they don't want to pay the price. They want transformation on a discount, but you can't bargain with evolution. It demands full surrender. It doesn't care about your timeline, your excuses, or your fears. When it's time, it's time. And if you don't move willingly, life will move you forcefully. You ever notice how when something keeps going wrong, it's usually because you're trying to control what's meant to shift. You keep patching cracks in walls that are meant to crumble. You keep fixing situations that life is trying to free you from. You call it loyalty, but it's really fear. You're loyal to your own limitations. You're addicted to your pain because it's predictable. And that's the saddest comfort of all. being familiar with misery. But here's the truth. Every breakdown you've had was a breakthrough in disguise. Every ending was an invitation to begin again. Life doesn't destroy, it exposes. It tears away illusions you built to survive, so you can finally start living. The pain that broke you wasn't there to end you. It was there to reveal you. Because the real you only appears when the false one falls apart. The moment you stop resisting the process, you start understanding the purpose. You start seeing the pattern behind the chaos. You start realizing that everything that's been taken from you was actually protecting you from becoming trapped where you didn't belong. Life doesn't withhold what's meant for you. It removes what isn't. But as long as you keep chasing what's leaving, you'll never reach what's waiting. So when things fall apart, don't rush to fix them. Watch. Listen. Ask what it's trying to teach you. Because nothing breaks without meaning. The destruction is the direction. The discomfort is the signal. Everything collapsing around you isn't the end. It's the message. The one you keep ignoring while praying for signs. The one that says, it's time to grow. You ever realize how life has a strange way of cornering you? Like it keeps pushing you into situations you swore you'd never fall into again. The same people, same emotions, same disappointments, just wearing different masks. And no matter how much you try to change your surroundings, the story somehow finds a way to repeat itself. That's not life being cruel, that's life being clever. It's showing you the one thing you keep running from: yourself. Because pain isn't punishment, it's a mirror. And most people can't stand what it reflects. You see, people love to play the victim of their own reflection. They say, why does this always happen to me? But they never stop to ask, what part of me keeps attracting this? They keep pointing fingers, blaming luck, blaming God, blaming the world. Anything to avoid the truth staring right back at them. Because the truth is never easy to swallow. It's jagged. It cuts through the stories you tell yourself just to sleep at night. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You start realizing that pain doesn't show up to hurt you. It shows up to show you. Every disappointment you felt was a lesson wearing a disguise. Every heartbreak was a reminder that you've been settling for less than you deserve. Every failure was a sign that you were building your life on weak foundations. But instead of listening, you got angry. Instead of learning, you resisted. Because it's easier to stay broken when you can blame something else for the cracks. The problem is, that's how cycles are born. Not from curses, but from comfort. The kind of comfort that whispers, maybe it's just bad luck, when deep down you know it's not. People don't want truth, they want reassurance. They want someone to tell them it's okay to stay the same. But truth doesn't soothe. It exposes. It shines light where you've built shadows. It points out the rot underneath your excuses. And that's why people run from it. Because once you see that the pain isn't random, you lose your favorite excuse. That life just happens to you. Once you understand that your choices built this reality, You can't keep pretending to be powerless. And that's when the reflection starts to hurt. Because now it's not the world breaking you, it's you doing it to yourself. Pain doesn't knock politely, it slams the door open. It walks in and ruins everything you thought was stable, just to make you pay attention. Because it knows something you don't. You've been asleep. Not physically, but spiritually, mentally, emotionally asleep. Living on autopilot, repeating patterns, hoping things will change while you stay exactly the same. And pain, it's not your enemy. It's your alarm clock. It doesn't want to destroy you. It wants to wake you. But you keep hitting snooze every time. You ever think about that? How your greatest lessons always come wrapped in pain. How the people who hurt you the most were the ones who revealed what you needed to heal. That's the twisted beauty of it. The same thing that breaks you is the thing that builds you. But most people never get there. They drown in bitterness instead of learning how to breathe underwater. They mistake suffering for punishment instead of transformation. Because they don't understand. Pain isn't life being cruel. It's life being honest. Every emotion you run from becomes a chain around your neck. Every wound you ignore becomes a wound you reopen. And every pattern you deny becomes a path you walk again. You can't escape what you refuse to face. Life won't let you. It's persistent like that. It'll bring you the same type of person, the same type of job, the same type of betrayal, until you finally stop and say, "All right, I get it." That's when things start to shift. Not when the pain stops, but when the awareness begins. Because the moment you stop seeing pain as a curse, it turns into your compass. It starts guiding you instead of haunting you. You begin to understand that the universe isn't cruel. It's calculated. It's trying to align you with something higher, something truer, but you keep resisting because truth feels uncomfortable. But comfort is where you rot, not where you rise. Pain cracks you open, but that's the only way light gets in. The irony is, the very thing you hate, the heartbreak, the loss, the rejection, is the thing sculpting you into who you're supposed to be. You don't grow through ease. You grow through friction, through pressure, through collapse. That's how diamonds form, not by staying safe, but by surviving the squeeze. And maybe, just maybe, that's why life keeps bringing you the same lesson. Because it's waiting for you to stop blaming the pressure and start becoming the diamond. You'll notice something strange once you finally accept that pain as a mirror. The reflection changes. The people who used to hurt you lose their power. The situations that used to break you don't shake you anymore. You start responding instead of reacting. And just like that, the cycle ends. Not because the world suddenly got kinder, but because you finally learned to look pain in the eye and say, "Thank you for showing me what I refuse to see." You ever notice how life keeps throwing the same chaos at you, just dressed a little differently? One week, it's a friend betraying you. The next, it's someone you trusted at work. And the next, it's silence where you expected support. Different faces, same feeling. It's not random. It's a pattern. And the worst part, you keep acting like you don't recognize it. You keep calling it bad luck, as if life just has it out for you. But no, life's got better things to do. It's not out to hurt you. It's trying to teach you. But you're too busy reacting to realize you're in class. The signs were there. They always are. That feeling in your gut when something felt off, but you ignored it. That quiet voice that said, "Don't go back," and you went anyway. That subtle tension before things went wrong. You call it intuition, instinct, energy. Doesn't matter. It's the same thing, awareness. The part of you that sees the truth before your mind catches up. But you don't trust it. You want logic. You want proof. You want the storm to hit before you believe the clouds were warning you. And by the time you do, it's too late. You're standing in the middle of it, drenched in your own denial. That's the funny part. People say they want answers, but when life gives them signs, they ignore them because the signs don't fit their desires. You want to believe the best in people, even when they've shown you their worst. You want to believe things will change, even when history says otherwise. You keep rewriting the same story, hoping the ending will somehow be different. But the truth doesn't change just because you're tired of hearing it. The pattern stays until you face it. You see, life isn't cruel. It's consistent. It will keep showing you the same situation until you finally respond differently. That's why you keep ending up in the same place with different people. Because you're not learning the lesson. You're just changing the scenery. You think moving cities, cutting people off, starting new projects will fix it. But you bring yourself everywhere you go. The same wounds, the same fears, the same blind spots. And until you fix those, life will keep pressing replay. It's like the universe is saying, "You didn't get it last time. Let's try again." Over and over until it finally clicks. And when it does, everything shifts. But most people never get there. They quit halfway through. They get bitter. They start saying things like, "I guess that's just life." No, that's not life. That's your refusal to grow. Because growth means discomfort. It means taking responsibility. It means admitting that maybe, just maybe, the problem isn't out there. It's in here. You ever think about how much energy you waste avoiding awareness? How you distract yourself, justify things, overthink, overwork, overlove, anything to not sit alone with your truth. Because truth is heavy. It doesn't whisper sweet things. It exposes. It makes you realize you've been building on shaky foundations. It makes you see that some people you call home were never safe. It makes you face the fact that maybe you've been choosing pain on purpose just because it's familiar. That's the cruel trick of comfort. It makes the cage feel like a choice. But awareness ruins that illusion. Once you see, you can't unsee. Once you realize the role you've been playing in your own suffering, the game changes. You stop chasing people who don't want to stay. You stop forcing doors that won't open. You stop mistaking struggle for loyalty. You start understanding that not everything that breaks you is unfair. Some of it is necessary, because without the breaking, you'd never stop pretending. Without the pain, you'd never wake up. The signs you ignore become the storms that break you. That's how life works. It starts with whispers, then warnings, then wreckage. You get gentle reminders first, the unease, the tension, the repeating thoughts. And if you still refuse to listen, life raises its voice. It sends you loss, endings, silence. And then you start praying for clarity, not realizing you already had it. It's just that you didn't like what it said. You ever notice how people only start asking for signs after they've ignored all the ones that mattered? Like they want divine permission to keep making the same mistakes. But signs don't work like that. They're not here to comfort you. They're here to confront you. They tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to. And if you keep pretending not to notice, the message gets louder until you can't ignore it anymore. Until the life you built on lies collapses and forces you to rebuild in truth. And maybe that's why life feels so heavy sometimes. Because you're carrying all the lessons you refuse to learn. You keep dragging yesterday's mistakes into today, wondering why tomorrow feels the same. But once you finally start noticing the signs, something strange happens. The chaos starts making sense. The timing, the patterns, the people, they all fit. You realize it wasn't bad luck. It was alignment. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. The lessons were never trying to destroy you. They were trying to deliver you. But until you listen, they'll keep knocking. And each time a little louder. Because life doesn't get tired of teaching. It just waits for you to get tired of repeating. You ever feel that restlessness that doesn't make sense? That strange unease that shows up when everything in your life looks fine, but something deep inside you feels off. You smile. You work, you talk, you go through the motions, but underneath it all there's this quiet noise you can't escape. Like a vibration in your chest, a whisper that says, something isn't right. You try to drown it out with distractions, with people, with noise, but it keeps following you. You change your surroundings, your routines, even your dreams, but that feeling, it never leaves. Because it's not something outside you, it's something inside trying to wake you up. People call it anxiety, boredom, restlessness, but that's just a label. The truth is, it's your soul warning you. It's that deeper part of you saying, you're drifting. You're pretending to be okay with things that no longer fit. You're settling for a version of yourself that's smaller than the one you were meant to become. And that tension you feel, that pressure building under your skin, it's not punishment. It's potential. It's everything inside you screaming for release. You see, that feeling isn't random. It's